Hey, what's up? All right, let's, we only have a couple minutes. I'm not going that far. Let's talk healthcare. Let me swallow my Mento here. So, as you probably know, a couple of days ago, or yesterday, in fact, the GOP was getting ready to hold a vote on what they were calling the ACHA. Basically, it was a partial replacement for Obamacare that was going to go through the reconciliation process. And the idea was you use reconciliation, which has a lower legislative bar, to grant the health department a significant, and IRS, a significant amount of leeway to then start cutting back on the restrictions that Obamacare imposed. So while the law itself would still exist in a real way, at least in some fashion, as a matter of net effect, it would be neutered in a long way, and we could have avoided the worst economic effects. Because when what you need to understand is that Obamacare was built on a foundation of sand. So Obamacare front-loaded a lot of cost savings to make it look palatable to the American public. But then right around now, a bunch of the economic failures and penalties and price increases and whatever all start to happen, and they pile up from here. So as disastrous as Obamacare has been so far, it gets worse. It starts accelerating from here and gets more and more expensive every year. The penalties get harsher, and generally speaking, it becomes a worse law as we go from now on. And the idea of the Ryan-Trump sort of moderation was to help mitigate that effect. Well, that didn't work. And for good reason. I'm 50-50 torn on whether or not I wanted it to happen or not. I can see it working that way, but I'm much more comfortable with a full repeal. Just say, 6 months from now, Obamacare expires, and we're going to take the next 6 months and pass something that actually works, something that's real. I have said before, I would prefer they pass nothing. I would just want to see government deregulate the insurance market and step back, maybe with a minor subsidy for those people who fall under a certain income level so that they could afford some health care. But other than that, get out of the way, let the market do its work. But that ship has long sailed. The American public is not going to tolerate a fully free market healthcare system. So, but there are ways to do it in a fashion that's somewhat responsible and manageable. So the Ryan Care, or Trump Care, depending on how you want to call it, vote was pulled because the bill was clearly not going to pass. And I've seen a fair number of people talking about this as a great defeat for Donald Trump, and they're now coming out of the woodwork and being like, aha, you see, Donald Trump isn't invincible. He's not going to win every fight. Aren't you feeling sad you voted for him? And I don't know of any Trump supporters who expected that we would win literally every legislative battle without any setbacks. Nor has Donald Trump ever claimed that that was the way his life operated. You look at his real estate, you look at the art of the deal, you look at these things, and you see that Donald Trump has always been prepared for the risk of a gambit failing, for the risk of a deal falling through. And the important thing to him is that he wins or comes out okay either way. And that's exactly what happened with Ryan Care. The beauty of Donald Trump's mechanism of deal making in a situation like the healthcare bill that was just pulled is that if it had passed, he had won a core part of his legislative agenda on healthcare, and there would be cost savings, and he would go into the next phase of his presidency with that win behind him. If it failed or couldn't get off the ground as it did, there's still a significant benefit to Donald Trump. For one, he now has leverage over Speaker Ryan, and he and Ryan never worked together overly well. So he now has the ability to sort of back channel a replacement for Paul Ryan. More importantly, politically, as Obamacare implodes over the next year, he can say to the Democrats and the American public, we tried. You know, we were going to fix it, and the Democrats didn't support our fix, and as such, it's all on you. This is Obamacare exactly the way Obama created it, and the problems are all his, and now we tried the moderate approach, and we are going to simply replace it in its entirety when we have the opportunity. And that is a win for him as well. So either way you look at it, like most of the deals that Donald Trump puts together, the downside, though he would, I truly in my heart feel that Donald Trump would have preferred this bill pass. Otherwise he would not have stated that openly. But I know that he was prepared and had a backup plan for what happens if it fails. And pass or fail, he comes out, in the long run, he's going to come out okay. There are follow-up benefits. For one, you know, the left has now been tricked into, look, Donald Trump failed, right? There's no way around the fact that he put his weight behind it and it didn't happen. This diminishes the illusion of his invincibility. But it also means every time you now post a meme showing Donald Trump sitting in an 18-wheel truck and talk about how he's incompetent and a failure and can't get anything done, you now undermine this juggernaut Terminator-like figure you had built up around Donald Trump as Hitler, that sort of implied that Donald Trump was the biggest threat to, you know, the free world since whoever, because now you cannot simultaneously push the idea that he's an ineffective incompetent and that he's the largest threat to the free world that's ever been known. You're going to try. The left is going to try and do that, but the left will fail. Just like the left has failed all along to meaningfully define Donald Trump, they will fail now. Once again, the left fundamentally misjudges Trump's support, and they think that support was fragile. They think that now that he lost a legislative battle that we will all turn. But again, anyone who's read The Art of the Deal, anyone who's done business in the world, anyone who has spent any amount of time sort of following Donald Trump's career, sometimes your hotel goes bankrupt. Sometimes a deal doesn't work. Sometimes, if you're a business owner, as I am, if you've ever put together a startup, you know it doesn't always work every time. And that doesn't mean that it will never work. And it doesn't mean that you can't build on those problems and learn from them. And this was an incredibly valuable experience for Trump, for his supporters, for the campaign as a whole, and for everyone involved. So there's really no downside to this event. In any case, I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'm going to be clipping a small segment. I'm hoping I found 1 or 2 quotes in there that I can clip out. I'm experimenting with short form social video. So let's see if we can come up with a quote that we can actually use. Okay, let's try this. While the left may be celebrating a victory because Ryan Care or Trump Care did not get taken to a floor vote, I think they're underestimating Donald Trump's ability to have a backup plan. And I think that in the long run, this is going to wind up being a net positive for him. He can say that he's tried a moderate mechanism to salvage Obamacare, and that the Democrats fought it tooth and nail, and that the American public didn't want it. And this just gives more moral weight behind his statement that what we really want is a full repeal and replacement. He can say that he tried to be a statesman about it, which is something everybody said he was never going to be able to do. And now he has to just do the whole thing. And I think that's going to work in his favor in the long run. Okay, everybody, we'll see if I manage to get any little pieces out of that. If you see any section of about 15 or 20 seconds in this herd watching video or any other that you think might be a decent little standalone clip, please let me know. And otherwise, I hope you have a great afternoon. Take it easy.